Well, later today, President Trump is leaving for Beijing for high-stake talks with China's President Xi Jinping.
The U.S. has been trying to persuade China to use its influence over Iran to help negotiate a deal to end the war. China is Iran's leading customer when it comes to buying Iranian oil. The U.S. accuses Chinese firms of aiding Iran's military. This comes as President Trump threatens to resume fighting. In a phone interview with CBS News, the president says he's ready to pause an 18-cent per gallon federal gas tax, but Congress would need to approve that. Experts say economic pain will be felt across the country the longer the standoff with Iran drags on.
Well, joining us now to discuss the latest developments in the war is UCLA political science professor Ben Radd. Thank you for being back with us this morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So yesterday, the president did reject an Iranian plan to end the war and said the ceasefire is now in jeopardy. But is there any hope a deal could still be made, or are they just too far apart now?
Very unlikely. There's been no movement to bring either side closer together. Their positions are very far apart. They have red lines that are very entrenched. The Iranians in particular responded with a counterproposal that involved the U.S. paying reparations, ending sanctions, and reopening or allowing the strait to be completely controlled by Iran. These are all non-starters.
Okay, well, U.S. officials have suggested that President Trump could lean, it looks like, toward some kind of military action to increase pressure on Iran. We know one option involves resuming that bombing campaign that we had seen before. Another focuses on the Strait of Hormuz. Can you explain these possible plans and what differentiates them?
So a limited bombing campaign, one that's, again, targeting strategic Iranian infrastructure, industrial base, that it's continuing what the president had been doing a few weeks back, or over a month ago now, when the bombing was continuing. Also, something else that the president can do is maintain the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So as much as Iran is able to control the ships passing through the narrow parts of the strait in the Persian Gulf, the U.S. blockading the Gulf as a whole, or blockading the straits, is also impacting Iran's ability to import-export goods. I mean, you had that segment where you talked about selling oil to China. This is all severely restricted by that U.S. blockade. So the United States can keep the blockade going while it also pursues limited bombing campaigns.
A lot of factors there. President Trump, of course, leaves for China today for meetings with President Xi Jinping. We understand he'll be asking for China's help to end this war. Can you elaborate on China's relationship with Iran and how they could possibly help?
So China, being, as you mentioned, the largest purchaser of Iranian oil, has tremendous leverage when it comes to Iran on the economic angle. It also supplies Iran with military hardware or components that are used to construct military weaponry, including drones and some of its ballistic missiles. So the president believes that President Xi, with knowing this and having this trade relationship with Iran, can pressure Iran to, at a minimum, at least open up the strait, realizing that really closing the strait impacts all of them, China especially, given how sensitive it is to China's economic concerns. But again, President Xi right now understands that he and the Chinese have a degree of leverage over the U.S., and they're more than happy to see the U.S. engaged and locked down and trapped in this conflict with Iran, which really draws attention and resources away from Taiwan.
We're going to dive a little deeper into this in just a few minutes, but the U.S. Consumer Price Index, we're looking at inflation. It accelerated now that the war has been going on. Do you think this puts pressure on the president to make a decision here?
It will, but ultimately the president has to find a decision, a way to exit this that does not result in a deal or situation that is worse than the position the United States was in when the conflict started. You know, President Trump is very sensitive to any impression that he got a, quote, deal that's worse than Obama's deal. He points often to that 2015 Iran deal that President Obama negotiated as being as an awful deal and vowing to do something better. If, as a result of trying to bring down prices and manage the economy and economic pain, he results in a negotiated settlement that is worse than that, it's difficult to see how he would be able to swallow that option.
That makes sense. Ben Radd, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.